Welcome to episode 238 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Daniel Van Gogh. Yo, 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 yo. Oh my God. Y'all, I can't. You know what? Sometimes the universe says, hey, everybody, I got a gift for you.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here you go. Now, I would contend it's about 2 weeks too late, but
yes,
it came right on time.
But who?
Daniel Van Gogh.
Who in the world
found
this? Because even when I went to YouTube, because of course I had to try to find every single video I could to laugh at it, and it was hard to find. But he's not hard to find on SoundCloud because he's got like 2 different names on there.
So we're talking, of course, about Daniel Fogelholy, who just lost his election to seat 2.
Yes, I mean
on the Broward County School Board. He was
destroyed.
Appointed by DeSantis, and I am dying to try to understand and untangle how these 2 people know each other.
What is the connection?
What is it? I can't figure it out. Why? Because he has no college degree.
No.
He has no experience in education on any level. Not a preschool, not a babysitting job that I'm aware of. Like, nothing.
Well, he has
and he appointed him to the Brown... That's... Well, hold on. Like, there's other things that, like, when you even dig into his resume and look at these companies that he's a part of, he's, like, the only person on there.
Yeah, they're made up. They're not made up, but they're kind of
It's like he padded a resume with... It looks like I don't know, but looks like.
But you would think
it's made up companies or something, or that don't like I don't know.
But you would think that the governor's office would vet someone that they were going to put on the school board.
This is what I'm talking about.
So there's got to be someone that he knows that is like, oh, there's this guy, he's great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or he's hungry and he'll do whatever you want him to do.
Something to do.
So he sat on the Broward County School Board for, I don't know, 2 years maybe?
Yeah.
And just was disrupted. Tried to give an award to a friend of ours who asked me, do you know who this is? And I said, yeah. And he's like, it seems like it's politically like an election sort of motivated to give me this. And I said, yeah, it is. So he declined it. Thank God. We don't need him. He's an angel, a gem. We don't need him involved in this bullshit.
No.
And anyway, so he loses this election, Daniel Fogelholy, to the Broward County School Board, and then like the next day, DeSantis appoints him to the Florida Board of Education.
Yes, the Florida Board of Education.
No experience, no college degree, no background in this.
We talked about this last week. This is a position where you're making decisions on policy. And the thing that is frightening about someone like Daniel Fogelholy, who rapper turned wannabe preacher now, he is always saying things like that his decisions are driven by Christ.
Ooh.
And that's all well and good in whatever moral life, maybe, I don't know what happened from rapper to preacher. Like, I don't know what happened in between, like how you found God. Or this is your other shtick, right? Like you have this persona, you have this rapper persona, and now you're the preacher, right? Like you're still spouting out garbage.
Yeah, so last week, the Miami New Times puts out this story, which is like a weekly paper. Great. The Broward New Times, Miami New Times always come out with great articles.
Yes.
But they came out, someone somewhere somehow found that in his teenage, maybe early 20 years old. I don't know.
He's young.
Yeah. He went by the name Daniel Van Gogh, who's a rapper in Miami, and he had this dyed blonde hair. Girl, it was everything you can imagine. But the lyrics, do you have any of the lyrics? It was just talking about how he likes to sleep with a lot of women. Yes.
And women
typical
money,
bullshit.
Women money, sex.
Yeah.
But my favorite was like when he referenced Kunta Kinte in one of his songs in his video. And I was like, wait, what?
Girl, and now this person is sitting on the the Florida Board of Education. What the fuck is going on?
The Board of Education that wants to strip everyone of everything, and also you're backed by Moms for Liberty, and looking at your lyrics, it doesn't gel.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe he had maybe he ended up being saved by someone, and like this is his new life now.
Ugh, honestly, I don't even give a fuck.
That's so boring.
But the thing that's very clear to me is Ron DeSantis puts Daniel Fogelholy in places he don't give a fuck about.
Correct.
He puts you there because he's using you for something. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe he sees you for what you are, which is an empty vessel. He could stick his hand up your ass and do this.
Oh, well,
and it's a lot easier because you're empty on the inside.
Definitely.
And so he puts you on Broward School Board because he hates Broward County and hates school.
And yeah,
public school. But then he puts you on the Florida Board of Education because he's trying to dismantle it and he knows you'll do whatever he wants. You're a puppet. Like, what a life. What an existence.
Yeah.
I think I'd have more pride being Daniel Van Gogh than a puppet to Ron DeSantis who's just using you. But it's okay. You're going to count those dollar bills all the way to the bank, right?
Yeah.
You'll do whatever it takes.
I can't imagine how much he's getting paid to be on this board.
When DeSantis is gone, of course. Yeah. When DeSantis is gone, all of you and all of your other flunkies will just fall away.
Yeah.
You're going to fall away. Because the current Republicans up there, they don't like him, and they've made that very clear going into this next session. They don't care about DeSantis. So.
Because his time is up.
His time is up.
His time is up.
I mean, look at what just happened. So another example this week is the Florida State Park.
Oh,
so
my
2 weeks ago, the Florida Department of Parks or
the Parks and Recs
had issued that they were going to have all these public meetings because they have found that there's, I believe it was 9 parks in the state of Florida that they were going to build hotels or a golf cart or pickleball courts or what?
On on state park.
What? You can't, no.
These are, Florida has been dug up and ripped apart enough.
Enough.
We need to save.
They're drilling in
habitats.
The Everglades, y'all.
They need to save these habitats. And all you have is someone who doesn't care. It's all about the bottom line for him and the money that he's going to make. He does not care about the state.
Right.
He doesn't care about the environment. He cares about nothing but himself. And everybody flipped the hell out. And then he's like,
because
that was leaked.
Then he distanced himself from it. Because the thing is that same exact plan was presented to the public under the Rick Scott administration so many years ago, whatever it was, six years ago. And the public flipped out then.
Yeah.
And so I really think that every time they think people aren't paying attention, they're going to try to float this again. And they thought they could get away with it, and people lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And all I'm asking is, the way they had to go back to the drawing board to figure out how they're going to do this now. They're not going to touch the state parks. All I ask is that you do the same thing about my body.
Yeah.
Come November, when Amendment 4 is on the ballot, I need you to vote yes for Amendment 4.
Right.
Okay? Because just like you want to protect the lands in Florida, protect my uterus, please. And your daughters and your sisters and your mothers, please. Stand up for your friends and your family who's also under attack, just like the state parks.
Yeah.
Can y'all come out for us, please? Because I got to tell you, if Yes on 4 doesn't pass, the first thing I'm going to do is call up the state and say, bulldoze the fucking parks.
Yeah.
You know what? A golf course would look really fucking good there. Oh, the protected springs? Fuck them. Dump cement in there. I don't give a fuck. Y'all don't care about me? Fuck your parks.
Ooh.
Fuck you and fuck your parks. You don't like a pickleball court? There's not 5,000 other ones available? You need one down the street where manatees live? Put it in. Fuck those manatees.
Oh.
That's all I hear. That's all I hear.
Right.
You care more about the parks than you care about the women in your lives? The girls in your lives?
Yeah, but they don't think that way. In their brain,
well,
it's
that's
babies.
That's how Yes on 4 campaign. Yes on 4 campaign. Protect me like you protect the parks. How about put that on a fucking shirt?
Ooh, I like it. You know, we had our past president talking about Amendment 4.
Ooh, girl. And look, her got in trouble. He got in so much trouble,
Have
girl.
you ever seen anybody going from one way to the next? I've never seen it.
So much
First,
trouble.
it's too short. It's too short. We got to look at it again. Then it's
too
long.
Too many weeks.
Too many weeks.
Short,
then it's not enough weeks. This is a person who I've never seen talks at, when I say someone who's talking out of both sides of their mouth, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen from one second to the next. And that anybody, because we know that there's a lot of Republican women who are going to support,
Amendment 4.
who are going to vote yes on 4. and he's trying to curry favor with these women again. And I hope that these women aren't stupid enough to see this flip-flopping, to see that he's only saying what is going to benefit him.
Right.
And the same thing with him going to the Arlington cemetery.
Wait, before we go into that, let me talk about the abortion thing with him real quick. Yeah. The thing is Florida right now has a 6-week abortion ban. Correct. At 6 weeks, most women don't know they're pregnant. No. So it's called a heartbeat bill, basically. And by the time you realize you're pregnant, it's too late to even have the option to have an abortion, and women have to flee the state. And the state of Florida used to be a refuge for women in the South. Yeah. Because there was no abortion access in their states. And there have been hundreds of thousands of women who have not been able to access abortion because of the 6-week abortion ban. Amendment 4 would push it to viability, which is like 20 weeks, 22 weeks. Okay? That's what it would do. All the other laws stay in place. Parental control, right? Unfortunately, where the parent has to sign off if you're under 18, that's still in place, right? But it would keep it safe here. And so the thing about Trump is that he was always pro-abortion. He was pro-choice his whole life.
Of course.
It only when he ran for president that he, as a Republican, that he had to change that. And also, they put their finger to the wind. Him and his campaign both know this is a fucking bad issue to be. They're on the wrong side of this issue. So he thought. And he is going to vote yes on 4. Believe me. He might say something else. But he didn't actually say it in there. All he said was 6 weeks isn't long enough. And we all agree to that. Yeah. We all agree. And I think it's the thing that's funniest to me is it's a poke in the eye to DeSantis. Yeah. He hates DeSantis. He fucking hates him. He'll let him go around and vote and promote him. But he fucking hates that guy. Yeah. And it undermines DeSantis when you say shit like that. Because DeSantis loves that fucking abortion ban. Oh, he's proud of it.
It's crazy to me that Trump, is saying, day one across America, he's going to have these abortion bans, but I'm going to vote yes on 4. Like, it's the also, guy is cuckoo.
He's cuckoo, and any Republican women or anybody, any man, like, whoever who's voting for Republicans but's going to vote yes on 4, do not believe Trump could. Just believe what he's already done. Yes. Right? He said he would appoint justices to the Supreme Court to overturn Roe. He appointed 3, and that's exactly what they did. And then after Roe was overturned, and since then he has taken credit for a third of the women in this country have no access to abortion, reproductive health.
But do you see now?
And he took credit for that up until it really started to ramp up into his campaign and become an issue. Don't believe he's going to sign an abortion ban in when he's a president. Do not believe anything he's saying now during the campaign. Not when. He's already done it. He's responsible for the ban that already exists because he appointed those Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe.
Now, but here's the best thing that I've seen is that now people are saying this happened under Biden and Kamala's watch, and it's like,
hey! I said that. Yeah, I said that. Yeah. Go back to our abortion video. Yeah. When it was overturned 2 years ago. I said the same thing. Right. It's fucking embarrassing. It's an embarrassing thing that this happened.
But this is because of Trump's appointments.
Of course.
Biden and Harris are not the ones who are pushing this abortion ban. But because it happened under the umbrella of their administration, now the GOP is trying to spin it that it's really the Democrats that have done that. And it's like, who are you guys? They're daft.
Okay, but I got to tell you something else.
I don't understand it.
I hear you, but let me tell you something. It works. Like, there are people who don't know shit. Yeah. They don't know shit. And they're reading, God knows. Here's the greatest and the worst thing about the internet is you can find an article that would support any argument you want to make. Yeah, but any argument you want to make.
Deep, and you gotta see who's writing it.
Yeah, and you also have to understand how government works, which our citizens of the United States do not know. They don't know. And it is shocking and appalling to me to see people now waking up realizing we're a month and a half away from an election, and now they know the answers. Yeah, they've never paid attention a day leading up to any of this. Don't understand how Biden took himself out of the race. How Kamala is now in the race. They don't understand how it all happened and how it worked. Yet they have an opinion about everything. You don't understand how any of it works. You're asking questions that are insane.
Well, and the thing is, when you're reading these articles online, or you're watching a podcast, hi, or you're, listening to watching YouTube, I don't know what you're doing, but you have to vet what you're reading. Like, at the end of that article, if it's like Patriot Jim, then you know that there's something wrong, right? Like you want to see the sources. You want to see where is the information coming from. And any like decent article is going to have sources in there that then you can like click through and hyperlink and find out the real story. Or just like start looking. I don't understand why people don't do that. You know, like when you see that the world is flat, like, yeah, like you have to, there's research out there. It is so bizarre to me.
But also can we?
And then Trump said again the thing about these Democrats, they push it too far. They push it to 9. Yesterday I heard a clip till 9 months till after. Again, they're having abortions at the day before the baby's born. Nobody is doing that. It's such a lie.
I just think it's gonna.
Crazy.
I think that
it's crazy.
The idea that people that listen, I'm all for like the push, but I'm starting to feel back in that space where I was with Hillary, where I was like, oh, we're gonna win, and
no,
we're not even close.
I don't even want to.
We're not even close. I know it seems like a no-brainer to us. That's how it felt in 2016.
Yeah,
it felt like a no-brainer. Like this is gonna happen.
I remember,
and I need everybody to remember that
election day leading into it. I was like, oh, this is going to be funny to see Trump destroyed. And like, and then when those numbers were coming in, that just like the sickness.
It could happen.
It could happen. I don't trust anything.
So anymore. instead of going, like, I just know who I can talk to. I'm not going to argue with someone who's a diehard Trumper, but if someone's genuinely curious and asking questions, I'm here to answer those questions. I will be here to, but I will not entertain this. I will not entertain conspiracy theories.
Oh, no.
I'll not entertain, well, you heard something about this. No, let's talk about facts.
Yes.
And let's talk about why things had happened.
No,
and again,
the other thing, don't say the word
deep state.
Yeah,
but how, can I say this too? How do you not say deep state when you do all of a sudden show up and Biden's not there and it's Kamala? Like people who don't understand and weren't involved go, wait a minute, how do you just take one person out and now there's someone else? And I didn't get the chance to choose who I wanted. That's a fucking issue. That's a real issue. It's a real issue. And everybody better start. Now look, in the grand, you take a giant step back and you go, okay, but now it's Kamala and Trump. Like, we can discuss how that happened and I understand it. I didn't get to vote in the presidential primary either in Florida because that's the Florida Democrats bullshit. That, that's another deeper thing that people were not paying attention to. Yeah. But you can't ask now in September why you're not voting for so-and-so. Like, you obviously weren't paying attention. And that's okay. That's okay. Because now we're here, and how are we going to move forward? We don't have to talk. There's no conspiracy there. That was all very public and very open. We all know what happened if you were paying attention.
Yes.
But I will not entertain conspiracy theories. I will not entertain, well, why did this happen? And what? There's no giant conspiracy here. There's one issue, and that's making sure Trump's not reelected. That's it. And also things are expensive. That's true.
That is true.
The way I have to balance my budget and pinch pennies, you have no idea.
I mean,
okay,
a cereal.
No, girl, I can't.
It's almost
a can of soup at Publix is $5.
Yeah.
A tiny container of Dunkin' Donuts coffee is $10.50. When I go to Walmart to go shopping, because now I'm going to another I went from Publix, which is an evil corporation, to Walmart, which is an evil corporation, who puts their boot on the necks of companies to make them lower their prices so they can sell them cheaper to me.
And I now like garbage.
And that's right. All their employees are on welfare and Medicaid. I have to take advantage of that now because I can't afford to shop at Publix. So I go to Target I go to Walmart grocery store where that same bag of coffee is now $7. I'm sorry, but I save when I go shopping at Walmart for my groceries. I'm saving $75 to $80 a week.
Wow.
A week, because I write down the prices. I know how much everything is at Publix, and when I compare them, it's crazy. It's crazy. It shouldn't be like that, but everything went up with inflation. Biden and his administration has done everything they could to bring it down. And now they're actually talking about, because it's the corporations, who are
that
continuing.
Are profiting. They are profiting. And then despite profiting so much, they're still raising the prices. And they're trying to say, oh, it's the economy. And it's not.
The inflation.
It is their greed. Their greed. They don't want to pay people more. And if they're going to, instead of taking a cut in, their $1 million yacht stupid bonuses that they get, they'd rather hike up the prices. That's what it's about.
Yeah. There's no reason why in the last year and a half, I know I keep talking about coffee, but it's the one staple that I have to buy every week. There's no reason why the same bag of coffee went from $7 to $8.50 to $9 to now $10 in a year and a half at Publix. That same bag of Dunkin' Donuts coffee went up $3. That's not inflation. That's Publix.
That's greed.
Turning the screws on people.
Yeah.
Believe me. And now what the Biden administration is doing, which I know the Harris administration will do, is they are creating a bill that is going to stop price gouging, which is what this is. Just like hurricanes. When all of a sudden a hurricane's coming and plywood goes from $2 a board to $10 a board, that's price gouging.
And
gas goes up. That's against the law here in Florida. The Biden administration, it's the last thing they can do to hold corporations accountable, but they've done everything to bring inflation down, and it's come down to 3%. But they can't do anything else because corporations can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so now they're trying to stop corporations from doing that. That's the best that Biden can do. Biden inherited a horrible economy because of COVID.
Correct.
And mishandlings from Trump administration.
You also have that Trump administration, if you remember, with all of the deregulation. And he's going to continue to deregulate. So you see things like, boar's head and people dying of listeria or whatever it is because there's no regulation.
Right.
And you guys are or not you guys, audience, but people who are Trump supporters are not realizing the impact of what that means when you want to deregulate. Like, do you want to eat, those of you that are meat eaters, like, I sure as hell want to know that the beef, right, that I'm purchasing or the chicken or the fish, like, is clean and good and isn't going to be filled with bacteria because the regulations are in place. Because the second they can get rid of those regulations, that's more money for them. Because that's less eyes on what has to be done, and you're producing stuff more quickly because you don't have to go through those steps to ensure that it's safe for the consumer.
Yeah, the corporations...
corporations don't care.
Yeah.
They're on their mega yachts, in the ocean.
The ocean's doing its job, I'll tell you that much.
Oh my God, I saw it.
The ocean's been... I sent it to you. Oh no, you sent it to me.
I sent it to you, yeah. Oh God,
the ocean is doing their job, taking out the billionaires. Anyway, we have a lot of work to do, and even if you think that your family and friends or anyone else that's in your community brings up they're not sure, please remind them. Please remind them.
It's outrageous.
And talk about, I know this is crazy, but some people haven't heard about Project 2025. Believe me.
They haven't.
I know. They haven't heard of it. And they need to be made aware. Send them the John Oliver clip because it's got a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
Keep it light. But then also talk about the things that are important to them.
There.
And the older I get, health insurance and all of that is very important. Like if you have a job or you have health insurance, or if you're through the marketplace, the health insurance market, whatever it is, we really need to have these conversations with our loved ones because the election is coming and it's not time to be quiet about these things.
And if they get rid of the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, we talked about this before.
The pre-existing conditions.
That's pre-existing conditions. So anyway, you have diabetes. You've had cancer in the past. You, who knows what, have a high blood pressure. All of those things, then an insurance company can say, you're too risky. Maybe you're too old now. You know what I mean? There's all these things that give them the slightest excuse to rip you off of the insurance, and they'll do it.
Yeah. Also,
because they don't want to pay.
Also, for the state of Florida,
outrageous.
Also if you live in the state of Florida, there's other things that we deal with here as homeowners that it's also very expensive. And that also has nothing to do with the Biden administration. Believe me, we have screamed about homeowners insurance costs increasing here for at least 3 years. It is the state of Florida. There's nothing the state can actually do right now except create laws that hold the insurance companies accountable when they try to get out of paying on a claim. There's lots of people in Fort Myers right now on the West Coast who have been waiting to get payouts on their houses, which were completely fucking destroyed by hurricanes.
That was like over a year ago.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And they're never going to get paid out, or the company never returned their calls, or they went out of business. They took all their money and never paid out. There's things that and the insurance czar here, our Department of Insurance, the insurance regulation actually worked on bills with both parties in Tallahassee and created one, and it gets very far and then it gets to the last committee and it somehow dies.
Yeah.
Because they all receive, DeSantis has received, and other Republicans, over $500,000 in campaign donations in the last year from insurance companies. And it's hard as someone who's overly aware and sees what's happening and might not be able to afford my home in some time in the next couple years, right? If I can't, I fight with my insurance. My insurance, who I had for my homeowner's insurance, sent my renewal to my mortgage company before I got to see it. And I had been looking for it, calling my agent, where's the insurance? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because I want to make sure it's something I know I can afford next year. It's all in my mortgage payment, right? It's escrowed into my mortgage payment. They sent it to my mortgage company before I got to see it. And the mortgage company paid it. $3,900 for the year. They paid it. And I'm like, whoa. That's way more than what I can afford, right? I've got to shop it out, which is what you're allowed to do. They sent it a month before my renewal, trying to get in there, trying to do something. I called my agent. I'm like, absolutely not. Cancel it. You need to find me another policy, which they did, which was half the cost.
I can't even believe that. I need to go shop around because mine is like $5,000.
It's crazy. Well, it's that roof, girl.
Yeah. I have a new roof.
Well, the straps. I got the whole thing that I get a bunch of credits. But
I think I have that too. I got a new roof 2 years ago.
Yes, you do need. I sent you my insurance agent.
I need to do it. I'm afraid of that back room. It's too
anyway.
much.
We all know how much all of this costs, and there's lots of things. Anyway, it got resolved this time. I'm just saying. There's a lot of things that might be expensive to you here in Florida that have nothing to do with Biden.
Not to mention that when there was any relief coming into the state, DeSantis denied it,
right,
and didn't accept that money.
That's
like
right.
With the credits.
Yeah, if you want to get a new AC, you can get a tax credit, and
from the federal government, but not in Florida.
And rebates.
He does not care about the people of Florida because what does it matter to him that ordinary citizens are getting a federal rebate in the state? What does it matter?
And
everything for him is about. He plays politics with everything. He does not have the interest of the people. It's disgusting.
Right. Yeah. So Trump. The thing about Trump going to Arlington that really upset. Have you ever been there?
Well, I was in D.C. I don't think I went. I think I was like.
It's
I didn't go in.
It's a beautiful place. It's calm. It's quiet. It's respectful. This is a man who never served a day.
No.
In the military, never served his country. Never,
got out of
has purposely calls veterans losers. If they're POWs, he calls them losers. He has no respect for anyone who's ever served in the military. Now, I contend, and my mother disagrees with me, but I think he's embarrassed that he never served. So he tries to make it off like they're losers because he's embarrassed that he never served, and because he's got excuse for it. There's no excuse. So for him to walk around there and then use these families, use the deaths of these brave men and women for a political photo shoot.
For a photo op. It's gross.
It's beyond disrespectful. I can't even imagine.
I was trying to think about why is this man doing this, and I thought kind of the same thing with the abortion. He's trying to win back favor somehow, and I think because he's talked so much shit about military folks that he was like, oh, I'll go to the cemetery, I'll have this photo op, they'll see how much I like the military. You know what I mean? That's how his brain works, is how can I use this as another means to show I'm pro-military, and he's there with the thumbs up. The thumbs up? Mm-mm. The thumbs up? What 12-year-olds do in their photos? What grown man is always thumbs upping? He doesn't understand the loss.
These are men and women. Some of them died on the battlefield. They gave their lives for this country. You have no idea the sacrifice these families make for this country. You have no respect or even the slightest understanding of what that place means to people, what that is. You have no idea. It's shocking to me. And also, they roughed up somebody who works there. His campaign people shuffled somebody away. And by the way, Here's the other part.
But
it's against the law.
No. Yeah,
it's against the law to do that. You're not allowed to take political photos or use that space. Our government literally had to make it a law because politicians are just disgusting individuals. Yeah. They had to make it a law to say to people, yo, since you don't clearly understand our rules here, we're going to make it a law that you can't do this because you guys are disgusting degenerates. You coming and using this space for your political gain is disgusting.
But they told him specifically,
I know,
do not do this.
Yeah.
And he ignored it and did it anyway, which is the Trump way.
Yeah.
That is the Trump way. Breaking a law, just throw it on with every other law he's broken. Like, why would he follow that? Why anybody would even let him in there knowing that he never says the truth?
There was something he was
never
doing.
says the truth.
There was something he was doing when he was president, and it had something to do with the military. And they wanted to have injured soldiers there, like in wheelchairs or like missing an arm.
Oh.
And he said no.
Why?
He didn't want to see it. That's what I'm saying. He will not. He doesn't like to be in the view of.
Oh, he's disgusting.
Because I honestly think, like, we got to remember, he was supposed to go to Vietnam.
Yeah, but he got out of it.
I know he did, but I'm saying he was.
Go.
That is now. This is where my mother argues with me. Like, is there no sense of, you abandoned?
No,
you know what I mean.
That.
Like,
he doesn't have.
There's some sort of.
The only thing
anger he feels towards the military and people who serve. There's an anger there. There's a disrespect and an anger. And all I could think of is that somebody at some point said to him, you're a piece of shit because you didn't serve and you got out. Like he has no excuse for it.
So maybe he is like, oh, these military jerks are mad at me because I had money and I could get my way out of it, and they're, chumps for going in there, and maybe that's how he views them.
Right. Look at how he talked about John McCain.
Can you imagine that?
That he was a loser because he was caught and was in a POW camp.
I like my soldiers not caught or
this
something.
This is a man who was in a cage for a year. A cage. Bamboo cage the size of this fucking table. Was completely disabled. Like one of his arms couldn't move because he was in this cage for a year.
It's crazy. This guy.
Isn't that enough for you? You still want to talk about how Kamala's now the nominee? Get the fuck out of here.
This is also, these are, the Republicans are the ones who are like, rah military, rah police.
Yeah.
Like, where are you for the police at the Capitol and for our military service folks? Like, where are you for them? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
between him and J.D. Vance.
Well, now, RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. dropped out, and he endorsed Trump because it's the anti-vaxxer way.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, please, listen, we never talked about this on the podcast, but I got to cover that. I'm going to cover that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. story with American Samoa. If you don't know it, please go look it up. Go look up Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plus American Samoa. Please. Because it should be disturbing to you. That story alone is enough. This man is psychotic.
He's weird. I mean, the whale,
the stories that we know that he has said from his mouth, the bear cub story and alone is, you should understand that if this person who would do something like that, please go look the story up. If someone who would do that is also anti-vaxxing, you should understand that this is probably a bad argument too.
The guy's
this is a bad argument, and the bear. This is the same person. It's the same person.
There's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Well, mental worms, brain worms. He's got brain worms.
Yeah, but
not brain worms.
It's not these brain worms' fault. I think it's at the brain. It's not the worms. Maybe the worms needed to do more.
Yeah. I don't know.
The worms need to go in and chew out that crazy part of that.
I don't know, but vaccines are a part of our lives. Thank God.
Thank God. I'm going to get my COVID and my flu shot.
Yeah, I don't have time for it. I don't have time for any discussions about vaccines and RFK Jr.
Oh, please. That guy's so dumb. He's a waste of time.
And he's cost lives.
Yeah.
People have died because of him. Because of his vaccine stance. People have died. Just like how it has been, there was one doctor in the entire world who said vaccines was linked to autism and then was disproven, but it wasn't, he didn't actually come out and say, yeah, I fucked it up, which he did.
He did.
But it wasn't until years later
Years.
when many children were not vaccinated and there's measles outbreaks and, you know.
It is crazy.
Things that literally just happened in Weston because people don't believe in vaccines. Yeah. And also, the people who are now anti-vax since COVID, but then vaccinated their children way before COVID, that's curious to me.
It's curious.
Where were you when those vaccines were happening? You're just scared of the COVID vaccine because you believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
That, by the way, I've had 3 or 4. Have you ever heard of what it's like to have long COVID? The effects of having COVID so many times?
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid because,
long COVID is a real thing.
Yeah, and like the effects on people's hearts from having COVID, like it's worrisome.
It's irresponsible.
It's very irresponsible.
Yeah, I don't have time to get involved in that.
No. The last thing I wanted to say was the J.D. Vance, and his statement that only people with children should be educators. What about when people get out of college, they're 22 years old, they're getting their first job as a teacher.
Well, by then they're married and have children in his world. And those women have already had 5 kids, 22.
But, like, what planet are we on? What planet are we on? So then a woman who gets her college degree and again gets a job and can't have children, so then she has to be fired because now she finds out like she can't have children, or you have to. So when you apply to the job, you have to list how many children you have.
I can tell you, I've never
lost a child.
I've never in my life
still allowed to teach other people's children. This is the wackiest thing I've ever heard.
Here's why. There's a couple things happening here. First of all, I've never in my life thought this much about who should have kids and who shouldn't. Like, if there's a person who literally has these thoughts going through his head and then doesn't understand that he's on a global stage now, to where everything he says becomes a global story.
It's crazy.
And this is the thing, these are the things he's choosing to use to say on that platform, is that every thought that he's ever had about women and whether or not they have children and what that means and how they can behave and who they should marry and how long they should and what jobs they should. I know a lot of men. I don't know any of them who've had this much fucking thought about women and their bodies and their children and their jobs. This cannot be the only thought in this man's head. Well, and if it is, he needs to be locked up somewhere and studied because there's something fucking wrong with him.
But here's the other thing that is wrong with the entire idea is that there is some idea out there that just because an adult is a teacher in a room full of children, that somehow they are indoctrinating them, that somehow whatever their existence is informing what they're teaching. That's not the case. You get a curriculum.
Yeah, you guys have made it very clear what they can and can't do.
Well, yeah, but even before all of this, even before people were like shitting on teachers as bad as they do now, there's always been curriculum. Here's the curriculum. You got to get through this by the end of the year. And maybe there's a state test and maybe it's not, but maybe they need to know X, Y, and Z before they move into the first grade. And then in the first grade, they got to know this and they add on to whatever that math is so they know it for the third grade. Like, there's too many things that these kids are learning that is curriculum. Nobody is standing there preaching to children. I don't know. Again, it's people who have clearly never once stepped foot in a classroom. Who's never once sat in a classroom and actually had to teach.
And they're doing their jobs and they're going home.
To the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like,
they don't go there with an agenda.
There is nobody who is like trying to do anything but, okay, we got to teach, multiplication today. Okay, we're going to do multiplication. Like, we're moving to this station. Now it's this station. That's it. Like, it's just a little plan and that's it. When I heard this, I said, I don't understand. So because they're a parent, what?
Well, you know what your problem is, Tina?
What are they saying that's going to be any different than a non-parent?
You got a problem. And your problem is this. You're trying to figure out crazy.
Yeah, you can't
do it. That's why he's saying it. Because but first of all, people are like, Trump literally had to get on a microphone this week and go, they're calling us weird. I'm not weird. J.D. Vance isn't weird. We're normal guys. We're not weird.
You're weird.
You're saying things that also, we have to not get caught up in the spin of this.
Yeah.
Like that, J.D. Vance is literally saying every thought in his head. And believe me, nobody wants to hear anybody's thoughts in anybody's head.
God, his poor wife.
All I want to hear from people are well thought out ideas. Before you come to me with a conversation or a topic you want to have, you better have thought that thing out. Don't just randomly throw a piece of shit on the table and tell me to discuss it. Like, I can't do that. Oh. And that's what he does. He drops shit everywhere he goes, and everybody's stepping in it trying to figure it out. Oh, he's insane. God.
Yes.
And what he's doing is a spin, a very, very far right spin on Pence. You know, Pence was an evangelical angel who came into the campaign to level out the crazy, right? And they need Vance to level out the crazy, but what they don't understand,
he's amped up the crazy.
He's got a different. Where Trump will say anything because he don't give a fuck, but Vance is saying things that I think he really very much believes, but he's being fed this stuff. There's no way of this. This doesn't. The things he's saying are from a playbook that is so deep in the South and that evangelical, what's that movement where you keep your kids
homeschool.
Not the homeschool, but it's something else. It's shit. You know, all of these the Duggars and all those people, they all have that sort of that stay at home
trad
wife thing.
Yeah.
But it's the trad wife.
Nobody wants to be a trad wife. God, just the thought of it. Now, do I want to stay home and not work? Yeah. But not because I want to be a trad wife.
I just saw a video on this. Crazy. This woman said, she's like, I'll be a trad wife, but you need to be a trad man. Which means, she said, I'll be a trad wife and wake up at 10 a.m., go to yoga, make some dinner when I get home. I'll do the dishes, but you got to bring home enough money to make sure that I can be a trad wife, right? Like, a lot of these guys that watch these TikTok videos and women, they're trad. They're trying to do this trad lifestyle, traditional lifestyle, but on a budget of $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
No. I mean, we're not going to try to make that work.
And this whole trad wife trend is, and again, the thing that worries me, because it's all online. So you watch one trad wife video, right? Then in your feed, you might get other trad wife videos. And then if you have young people who, maybe they watched one or two, and now this is all that's going in. And this is the idea that young girls and boys are getting about what relationships should be and what women should be doing. And I don't like any of it.
Well, and the other thing about that too is that these folks are directly benefiting from the state. They want to scream about socialism. We don't like socialism. We don't like people getting things free from the state. You're taking that voucher though, right?
Yeah.
Taking that state voucher for your school.
They sure are.
So you're taking the state voucher to homeschool your kids?
Yeah.
Are you on Florida Kid Care? You're taking a lot of money from the state for people who don't like what the state's doing.
They're so stupid.
You take a lot of money from out of the state to be able to stay home and be a trad wife.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go.
Okay. So today, I know. Ooh,
so mad.
We're 45 minutes in.
This is the new podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, get a taste.
Get a taste.
All right. So today.
Wait, we were talking about this, and what was the other thing we said we talked about? Oh, yeah, on our Patreon, we said our new podcast. We're going to start a new podcast. Everything is Sopranos versus Godfather.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi.
Because why not pivot and make something that...
Well, I mean, at least that's something that we know about.
Let's make a whole new podcast about a totally different subject.
Yeah, but we know about that subject.
I mean...
Oh, girl. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story of former New York State Assemblyman Bill Nojay.
Okay.
I hope I'm saying the name right, but
okay.
it's Nojay.
Is he a bad guy?
Well,
all right.
I'm just going to say trigger warning ahead. So Bill Nojay served in the New York State Assembly from the 133rd District beginning in 2013. But when he's charged with fraud, he takes matters into his own hands.
Hot.
All right, so our story takes place in that district in New York, and that includes Steuben, Monroe, and Livingston counties.
No idea.
areas, or I don't know what. But New York, baby.
Yeah.
According to the Democrat and Chronicle, Nojay was born in November 1956. He grew up on the east side of New York, and his first political act was starting a petition at his elementary school to get part of the playground space that was given to faculty and have it returned to the students, which I thought that's kind of cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, like, okay, we want our space back. Because, they're probably out back then smoking their cigarettes in the corner, and they want to get that. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, where you'd see teachers smoking.
It was like the smoking corner, and like students and teachers were smoking the corner. It's so crazy to me that was real. That was real.
Smelled so bad.
According to the New York Times, Nojay reportedly really caught the political bug as a teenager when he went and he heard Ronald Reagan speak at the Conservative Political Action Conference.
P.S. I was at the movies last night, and there's a poster of a movie called Reagan, and it's Dennis Quaid with a cowboy hat on. He's playing Reagan. I'm like, who asked for this?
I know.
Who the fuck asked for this?
Movie.
Yeah.
Unless they show, how terrible he was.
Then
I'm there for it.
Because...
Oh God, the jelly beans was such a thing. It was such a thing. Okay, so Nojay attended Colgate University and later Columbia University. And he got his law degree and worked as a lawyer. So he was a Republican, and his political career began with an appointment by New York Governor Pataki to Commissioner of Rochester Genesee Regional Transportation Authority. And he also served on several committees, including the Executive Committee of the Genesee Transportation Council, and he was chairman of the Regional Trails Initiative Steering Committee. So the major incident.
Oh boy.
According to Rochester First, from 2009 to 2013, Nojay was accused by the FBI of wire fraud. He allegedly stole $800,000 from an escrow account. $800,000. So supposedly, he moved the money to his election campaign account.
Oh no!
And then he gave some to a registered lobbyist. He gave some to a car dealership. He gave some to his kids.
Holy shit!
And he paid like property taxes with this money.
Campaign account, isn't all of that tracked? You have to write that down. You can look at people's campaign reports.
I don't know.
What the fuck's he thinking?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. A colleague in the assembly, Minority Leader Brian Kolb, had this to say: "I've known Bill for 20 years. Had no idea that there was potential legal troubles for him on the horizon. So everyone's been shocked from the very beginning."
Wow.
So charges. He's charged with fraud. And then... here we go.
Okay. Oh no.
So with the allegations, so again, trigger warning, with the allegations swirling around him, Nojay takes this drastic step. So on Friday, September 9th, he goes to the Riverside Cemetery, and his family had 3 burial plots there. And while there, the police get this phone call about a distraught man, according to the Democrat and Chronicle. And as the police officer arrived and approached Nojay shot himself, and he died under a tree near his brother's grave.
No!
He left his wife and 3 kids. He was supposed to appear in court that day to face the charges, and he just couldn't do it, I guess.
Oh, come on. You, how old was he? You can't be that old.
Wasn't that old. So,
you can get through this, man.
I know.
Oh.
So then allegedly Nojay got around $700,000 from a friend to try and repay what he took. But the friend later said that he was conned by Nojay. So then he took this money from the friend. So the Republican chairman for Monroe County, Bill Rylick, had this to say: "It's tragic news. It's terrible to hear this about anybody, but certainly somebody who has been a public servant and somebody who I personally knew." And then Michael Caputo, Trump's New York primary campaign director, said Bill Nojay was as conservative as they come, a reliable voice for those values against the greatest odds. He was also one of the first electeds in New York to identify Donald Trump's message as one America would respond to. So, I mean, you shouldn't have said that part. And then sentencing, obviously, like, there was nothing because he had taken his life. And so some of the aftermath, he was still on, like, the ballot when this happened. No. And it was a few days away, so he won the primary, like, despite... his death.
Y'all, stop doing this.
I know. And then a year after Nojay's death, it was still unclear where the money went, whether or not it could be recovered.
Yeah. So I was going to say, is the wife have to give it back?
they don't know like where it all is.
How can that be?
They don't know. They don't know if it was going to be recovered. And then, so some points of interest, in addition to being a politician and a lawyer, he also hosted his own conservative radio talk show.
Oh, no.
Yay. He was a supporter of Donald Trump in 2016. And in 2013, he allegedly asked Trump to run for governor of New York. So he was always into like the former prez. And then he, his fundraiser at a gun club was canceled after his death. He had a fundraiser set up at like a...
Listen, guns are the number one... Suicide is the number one death from guns.
Yeah.
Is suicide.
And then a year after his death, Nojay's widow was granted the remainder of Nojay's salary by the state legislature, which was around $27,000. So like the remainder of the year, because I think this happened like November or whatever it was. And that's it.
Girl.
I know it's short and it was crazy, but I was like, oh, what a terrible... Because he probably would have gotten jail time for sure, $800,000. Then if he took the $700,000, so that's a lot.
You could do the jail time,
but the jail time would be
now your kids don't have a father.
It would be federal prison. You know what I mean? He's not going to be in some, you know,
Jesus, who gives a
super
fuck?
Scary.
Just get
and
out
how
of
long?
this.
And we've done these stories. He should have listened to the muck. We do these stories all the time. He'd be in jail like 5 years, 2 years, 5 years.
What are you saying? The muck could have saved his life? Is that what could have happened?
Oh,
Holy
I don't mean to
shit.
make light of what happened to this man.
No,
but what I'm saying
so
is
fucked up.
that yes, he probably would have served time, but I don't think he would have gone away for 30 years. You know what I mean?
It's also, it's
embarrassing.
It's a lot of money, but like, how do you not know where it goes? There's no bank records. There's no checks written. Like, how would he take cash out?
If he took cash out, then who knows where it went?
Oh my God.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's why. Well, that's a crazy story.
Oh.
Well, in the beginning, when you said trigger warning, it reminded me that I went to the movies last night and I saw that Zoe Kravitz's new movie, Blink Twice.
Oh, I like her.
I like her too. She wrote it and directed it.
Oh.
Yeah. And
is it scary? Is it?
It's a little scary. There's something going on and you can't figure out. They finally start to show you. But before the movie started, there was a trigger warning.
Oh.
Because of violence. And I turned to Simon and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, why?
They do it on Netflix now.
Yeah, but I've never seen it in a movie theater. And then I was like, Zoe fucking Kravitz is so woke. Like, why else would she do this, right? And then they get to the scene. And I go, I grab it. I go, that's why that is a trigger warning. Now I get it. Now I understand. Because it was like, because we were holding hands and I went, like I was like, and it wasn't. It's sexual violence, so it was like, and it was a lot, and it was intense, and I was like, I don't know, now I get it, now that was a trigger warning for the women in the room because it was fucked up.
Oh my God.
It was fucked up.
Oh,
good movie though, good movie, good twist, good movie.
I have been obsessed with a show, and I hope that you've seen it, and if not, you need to watch it.
What?
It's called Chimp Crazy.
Oh, I watched it. I'm dying for the new episode. Girl, first of all, let me just say this real quick. Why is it that all of these people who are involved with exotic animals
are crazy?
Look, and they look as crazy as they are in their head. They look it on the outside.
The Dolly Parton of chimps? Girl, I don't think so, girl.
When she was getting her lips injected and the guy was doing, like, he's like, you've got to sculpt them. And I'm like,
how about when she had, like, that was like the numbing cream.
Yeah.
But when she was in the water, when she was in the tanning bed,
it's the whole. What is it? And here's what I was saying to my mother.
Tonka, that last episode. Spoilers. You gotta watch it.
But also, when I'm mesmerized by her, this woman Tanya on Chimp Crazy. It's HBO documentary TV
Tanya
show.
Addicts.
There's a thing when you look at her too that I'm like, she thinks she looks good though.
Yeah.
That's what she's wearing wigs. It's all wigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's wearing these giant wigs because they're always different colors, different whatever. And she's got all her nails done. She's super tan. Her lips are injected with big old fake titties. Yeah.
And
from behind, she looks like she could be maybe a 30-year-old woman. And then she turns around and like, what happened?
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about people's looks, but she clearly wants you to look at her.
I think that if she didn't do all that, she probably would be fine.
Yeah, you see pictures of her from before, but she's always wearing wigs. There's something about the wigs.
There's something going on, but...
and the money, like the guy's like, how can you afford all this? And she's like, she sells exotic animals.
Like when they
on Facebook, by the way.
So when they do this pan back of where she's living in Minnesota now, and I'm like,
she's living in the Ozarks,
but she's got this huge, beautiful house. I'm like, how does she have this beautiful house? And she's selling, and it's really not right what she's doing.
No,
she's basically a broker for exotic animals and exploiting these animals, and the people out there, these are not puppies and these are not domesticated animals. What are they doing? And then the story about Charla Nash and Travis, the chimp.
Yeah, that was. Do you remember when that happened? I remember when that happened.
I mean,
also, can I say something else? Have you seen Nope yet? The movie Nope by
I haven't seen it.
Jordan Peterson. Is it not Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peele. Jordan Peterson is the psychotic.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, you have to watch. Jordan Peele makes these great,
I'm gonna,
like, horror
scary.
I've
seen some, and
the new one. This one is so good, but there's an underlying story about a chimpanzee.
Oh.
And that's like a backstory that kind of, they show clips of it throughout this movie, and I'm telling you, after watching the second episode,
like,
he has clearly been influenced by that story. There's even imagery where you see that woman who was attacked by him. She's wearing that hat and the veil. That is in the movie. There's a person who was.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it.
There's this. I've been totally inspired by that.
I was crocheting and like watching stuff, so I'll do that tonight.
Girl.
This show though is like it's like Tiger King meets the Jinx, right? Because you have this Robert Durst moment. When that happened,
I knew it, by the way. I fucking knew it. I'm like, I know where she's going. I know where she's going.
The whole time we were like, but I didn't expect her to say it.
Yeah, that's what'd she just say?
I know. I did too. I just decided. I was like, wait. My husband and I were watching. I was like, you have to go back. And I was like, wait. And then the end, I was like,
what is wrong with her?
So she really believes that this documentarian, like that's
going to protect her.
Is going to protect her. And
yeah, because
here's my thing.
Because the guy who's really directing it, yes. The guy who's really directing it is the guy who directed Tiger King, but he is so now synonymous with taking down exotic animal people that he sent in a fake director.
He sent in this mole
who she thinks is making a documentary about how much she loves chimps. You know, she's always
even though
primping herself.
So even though it was a documentary about loving chimps, the fact that she would even allow this to be on film. I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see what happens.
It's the ego and the arrogance that always takes these folks down. It's even like Joe Exotic. He would go on saying, I'm going to kill Carol Baskin. I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut her, shoot her. All the things he would say. And then somebody tries to kill her and they're like, it's you.
Excuse me, Tiger King.
Yeah. You just filmed yourself over and over again saying the same thing that you were going to.
Remember, like, that was like such a COVID thing. Remember if we were like Tiger King for governor, people were...
I've watched Tiger King like 3 times. I fucking love that. I love that show.
I wish that they were all dropped so I could just watch it. I mean, because like HBO and Apple still do this little like teaser of once a week, which is kind of fun because it makes you like really excited for it. Than just kind of like.
Well, so I don't know if you saw the preview for next week or for tomorrow's episode of Chimp, the 3rd episode, but there looks like there's a brother and sister on there that are interviewed. I don't know what happened, but their mother had a chimp, so something terrible must have happened, and they're telling the story. And the girl says, you know, because her mother had the chimp, she said, when you have chimps like this, it's more about you showing the chimp off and like, look what I have. And the health and the wellness of the chimp is always, it never comes to the table. Like, nobody really cares about. Even the things they were feeding these chimps, I'm like, Powerade?
McDonald's, chicken nuggets and fries, like, when they said
candy, cupcakes.
They're not taking care of these animals properly.
But the Powerade was funny.
Because I was so funny. But I went online. I was like, "What do you feed chimpanzees?" And it's like, this is not it. Like, if they have money.
Yeah, they're 97% human. Same DNA as humans. Genes.
Use the money to treat them in a healthy way, and then they're in these tiny cages. And when the whole thing with Travis, like maybe Travis was really like upset emotionally, and he's in a small space, and
his father died,
and he used to have freedom, and now he doesn't have freedom, and.
I remember when that happened, but I thought it was the owner that was attacked. I didn't realize it was a friend.
Oh my God, that whole scene, and then please go watch it because I don't want to do too many spoilers. But man, And then the other show I'm gonna start soon. In the next day or 2, hopefully, is Chaos. It's
with my boyfriend.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum. So we'll see.
Love him. Well, my daughter hasn't been here this week, so we're halfway through Love is Blind.
Oh.
And so she likes the show You.
Oh, I love You. I've seen all of it. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
So I only watched the first 2 seasons.
The first season was good, and then it kind of.
I watched the first 2 seasons, whatever, years ago, and then she was like, "I watched all of them." I'm like, "What? You have? I can't believe it!" So I was like, I said, "Well, I need to find something to watch while because I got to keep me off Love Is Blind until she gets back." And I watched the 3rd season. It's the worst fucking television I've ever seen. And I told her, I said, "You need to come back because I'm watching this trashy show. I need to come back so we can watch the real good trashy show, the real good one."
Yeah.
Oh my God, that Love Is Blind is so fucking good.
I know. I need to watch an episode.
Well, in the meantime, I watched Love Is Blind Mexico, and it's so fucking bad, and it's just so bad. And Simon said, "I go, it's just so good." He goes, "Is it though?" I'm like, "Yes, it is. It's good. It's so good." Because here's what I found: Love Is Blind, like the way that people interact with each other in it, whether it's the American version, the UK version, the Mexico version, everybody's crazy. Everybody's crazy. And the only people who are sane are the parents on there going, you know, they bring this fiance home. They've known him for 2 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks. They bring him back to the parents like, "Ooh, surprise, we're engaged." And some of the parents are like, "Oh, we're so excited." But the normal parents are like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who the fuck is this? You're not doing, we're not going, we are not participating, we're not going to be a part of it." And the whole, you know, the production is like, dun dun, like they're the bad guys. I'm like, "No, those are the only sane people on the fucking show." And the kids are like, "I can't believe you're not going to support me." Oh, God.
I don't even know what I would do.
I told my daughter, "Don't you ever go on Love Is Blind, come bring a fiance home." She goes, "Yeah, but you love the show." I go, "Yeah, but
what? No.
I love making fun of it.
Yes.
Don't do that to me.
No.
Don't you ever bring home a Love Is Blind fiance to my house." Oh my God, it's so fucking good. It's so good.
All right, well,
it's
time to go.
We started the show laughing about Daniel Van Gogh.
Yes, and now it's time to go.
You know, because he's a Van Gogh, he's a real artist.
Yeah.
Daniel, come on here and rap. Come on, come back. I want to
God.
see Daniel Van Gogh come back. We need a comeback tour of the lower Broward County.
Oh God,
Make it east side so I don't have to go west, please.
No, this sounds.
I need a stage debut of Daniel Van Gogh. Daniel Van Gogh to Tallahassee.
Ooh. He needs to get out.
Woo.
He doesn't need to.
One
go,
of the lyrics was
out.
somebody had broken up with. One of it was like, "This girl broke up with me because I didn't know how to basically fuck," is what the lyric was. So he's like, "But now I know how to hold it down." So he had some experience.
Oh.
What is that?
Oh.
What Daniel Van Gogh? I need to know the details.
I know.
Like,
Share
what's
the
happening?
story. Share the story.
Tell me.
Oh my God.
He tries to be all fancy with his suits now. He's a grown up. Daniel Van Gogh is now grown up.
We know.
Yo, 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 yo. Take the microphone and start rapping at the last school board meeting. I want a whole show. I want a whole show.
That would be kind of.
Yeah.
That would be epic.
Mic drop at the end.
Oh my God.
Got a lot of opportunities here coming up with Daniel Van Gogh.
All right. Well,
we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.